You know that feeling when your mind won't shut up, when every thought crashes into the next one like waves you can't control, when you are lying awake at 3 a.m., replaying conversations from 5 years ago, worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. Yeah, we've all been there. And what I am about to share with you, it might sound too simple to work, but that's exactly why it does. There was a young man named Kael who couldn't sleep. Not because of noise, not because of discomfort, but because his mind had become a prison. Every night, the same endless loop, replaying mistakes, rehearsing future arguments, calculating risks that might never come. His thoughts were like 1,000 browser tabs open at once, each one screaming for attention, draining his energy even when he was lying completely still. He tried everything. Meditation apps that felt too forced, breathing exercises that made him more anxious, self-help books that left him more confused than when he started. Nothing worked. Because here is what nobody tells you about overthinking. You can't think your way out of thinking too much. It's like trying to dig yourself out of a hole. One morning, exhausted and desperate, Kael walked to the edge of his village where an old craftsman lived. His name was Ichiro, a man known for his stillness, his presence, his quietness. People said he once had a mind like Kael's, chaotic, restless, uncontrollable. But something had changed him. Kael found Ichiro in his workshop, carefully shaping a piece of clay on a potter's wheel. The old man didn't look up, didn't acknowledge him, just kept his hand steady, the wheel spinning, the clay rising and falling under his fingertips. "Master Ichiro," Kael said, his voice tight with frustration, "I can't control my thoughts anymore. They're destroying me. How do I empty my mind?" Ichiro didn't answer. The wheel kept spinning. Now, you are probably thinking, great, another wise old man who's going to ignore the question and give some cryptic answer. And you'd be partially right. But stay with me, because what happens next changed everything. After what felt like an eternity, Ichiro finally stopped the wheel. He picked up the clay vessel he'd been forming. Smooth, elegant, perfect. Then, without warning, he crushed it. Completely. His hands squeezed until the beautiful pot became a shapeless lump again. Kael gasped. "Why would you do that?" "It was perfect." Ichiro looked at him for the first time, and his eyes were calm, almost amused. Was it? Or was it just something? He placed the formless clay back on the wheel and began again. This clay doesn't hold on to its past shapes. It doesn't worry about what it will become tomorrow. It simply responds to pressure, to movement, to the present moment. He paused, letting that sink in. Your mind is the same, Kael, but you keep trying to hold every shape it's ever taken. Every regret, every fear, every possibility. You are carrying sculptures that don't exist anymore. Kael felt something crack open inside him. But how do I let go? And here is where it gets interesting. Because Ichiro didn't say meditate more or think positive thoughts. Instead, he said something that sounds almost offensive in its simplicity. You don't empty your mind by force, you empty it by filling your hands. Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense, right? Except, it does. And if you've ever felt paralyzed by overthinking, you need to hear this. Ichiro handed Kael a lump of clay. Shape something. Anything. Don't think about it. Just move your hands. Kael hesitated. But I don't know exactly. You don't know, so stop trying to know. Just do. Kael pressed his hands into the clay. It was cold, resistant, imperfect. He started shaping it, and for the first time in months, something strange happened. His mind quieted, not because he was trying to quiet it, but because his attention had somewhere else to go. Somewhere real, somewhere no. The thoughts didn't disappear. They were still there, like distant traffic noise. But they weren't him anymore. He was here, in this moment, with this clay, with these hands. Ichiro watched him work and said, "The mind is like water, Kael. If you try to grab it, it slips through your fingers. If you try to hold it still, it stagnates. But if you give it a path, a direction, a purpose, it flows. Powerfully, peacefully. And that's when Kael realized something that most people never figure out. The goal isn't an empty mind. The goal is a mind that flows instead of floods. Over the following weeks, Kael returned to Ichiro's workshop every day. Not to talk, not to seek more wisdom, but to work with his hands, to shape clay, to sand wood, to engage with the physical world instead of drowning in the mental one. And slowly, painfully slowly at first, then all at once, his life changed.
His sleep returned. His anxiety loosened its grip. His relationships improved because he was actually present in them instead of being a ghost haunted by his own thoughts. But here's what he learned that nobody talks about. Emptying your mind doesn't mean thinking nothing. It means thinking less about thinking. It means moving from analysis paralysis to purposeful action. It means understanding that your thoughts are weather, not climate. They pass, if you let them. One day, months later, Kael created his first real piece. A simple bowl, imperfect but honest. He showed it to Ichiro with pride. The old man smiled. Now tell me, when you were making this, were your worried thoughts? Kael paused. He couldn't remember. I don't know. They weren't there. No, Ichiro correctamente. They were there. You just weren't paying rent to live in them anymore. And that's the lesson that might save you from yourself. Your mind will always generate thoughts. That's literally its job. Fear, worry, doubt, endless what-ifs. These aren't bugs, they're features. They kept your ancestors alive when saber-toothed tigers were real threats. But in our modern world, where most dangers are imaginary, this same survival mechanism becomes a torture device. So what do? You don't empty your mind by fighting it. You empty it by redirecting it, by giving a channel, by engaging with reality, physical, present, undeniable reality, instead of the infinite simulations running in your head. Clean that room you've been avoiding. Cook an actual meal with your hands. Take a walk without your phone. Create something, anything, even if it's terrible. Write badly. Draw poorly. Sing off-key. The point isn't perfection. The point is presence. Because here's the truth that will set you free. You cannot think your way into peace. You can only act your way there. Kael learned that lesson on a potter's wheel, with clay under his fingertips and silence in his heart. Will you learn it? The mind you're carrying isn't too heavy. You're just holding it wrong. Let the thoughts flow like water. Let the worries pass like weather. And for the love of everything, put your hands on something real. That fear you're carrying about the future, it doesn't exist yet. That regret about the past, it's already gone. All you have is this moment, this breath, this choice to be here or lost in thought. Choose wisely. If this story resonated with you, if you felt even a fraction of Kael's struggle, then I have something that might change your life. Because emptying your mind is just the beginning. What you do with that clarity, that peace, that newfound focus, that's where transformation happens. I've created another video specifically about building a daily routine that anchors this kind of presence into your everyday life. It's called The Simplest Daily Routine That Changes Everything. Morning Habits for Focus and Discipline. Think of it as the next chapter of Kael's story and yours. It's waiting for you right now, and honestly, it might be exactly what you need to turn this moment of inspiration into lasting change. The link is in the description below. Don't just feel this message. Live it. See you in the next one. And remember, empty your mind by filling your hands.